One man's connection to his Queens parish goes back generations. Now, Anthony Perrelli gives back to St. Rita's in Long Island City any way he can. But it took a tragedy to get him there. Tonight, he's our Pulse of the Parish.
Yeah, don't swing your whole arm, it's all on the wrist. Just like that. That's all.
Anthony Perrelli knows a thing or two about being an altar server. Not only is he in charge of them here at St. Rita's Church in Long Island City, but he used to be one of them years ago. Anthony grew up in this parish. His parents were married in the original church and helped build the existing church, which opened in 1966. He moved away as an adult, looking for a better life for his family, settling down in Florida. He says he had a nice life, married the girl of his dreams, had a great job with Disney, and 4 children. Florida is where his oldest son, AJ, really began his career as a dancer and actor.
AJ had courage to just go out and take the bull by the horns. I admired that about him.
But Anthony decided to move his family back home to Queens in 2010 to care for his elderly parents.
I was here for 3 years doing my normal, practicing Catholic thing, church when the Spirit moves me on certain Sundays, and definitely the ashes and palms, and but it was after the loss of my son that I wanted answers.
Anthony lost his son, AJ, in 2013. The dancer was involved in a freak accident.
At first, I hated God for doing that to me. Even though I didn't go to church a lot, I prayed every day. But then I realized, then I didn't want to believe in God. And somebody said, well, how could you hate someone you don't believe in? So there's a little trickery on how you speak, how we think. But that's when I started searching for the answers. And it was through my son that I wound up coming back.
From the letter of St. Paul to the Philippians.
Now Anthony's a fixture at St. Rita's, whether he's reading during Mass, overseeing the altar servers, teaching religious ed, or helping out the sacristan.
When I look back at some of the storms I've weathered, I realized that it wasn't quite that bad as it seemed at the time. And I could almost see God's hand in each of those. I didn't know then what I know now. So yeah, my church is very important to me. Okay, so we'll do 1 and 2, then step away.
The pastor, Father Felix Sanchez, who was just assigned to St. Rita's in 2024, says he can rely on Anthony, who's one of his trustees.
He helps me with everything, and he's kind of technician and things like that, and he helps me with the sound and everything, and actually whatever I need or the parish need, he is always there.
Even though he has a full-time job, Anthony says serving the church makes him happy.
I'm here at the church till I die. Yeah, no, the church is where we belong. This is where we do the good work. My job just compensates me with money for the time I put in. This job, we're talking about eternity.
And now you know Anthony Perrelli from St. Rita's and how he makes up the Pulse of the Parish. Joining us now with more about St. Rita's Church is the pastor, Father Felix Sanchez. Hi, Father Felix.
Hi, how are you, Christine?
Good, nice to have you here. So this is a big year for St. Rita's, the 125th anniversary, and I know Anthony's been a huge help organizing all the events. So tell me, what are some of the events that have happened so far?
Well, we started with the festivities around the patron day, that is May 22nd. We have a treat room. We have the honor of see a video about how the windows were built with Viggo Rambush, that it was the one who installed, and he has worked all over New York, I would say, but he had this movie specifically about St. Rita. That is a treasure for him. Then we have Father Di Gregorio from the National Shrine in Philadelphia, and he came to talk about St. Rita's life, and we found out many things about her that most of the people don't know. And we have the festival. Normally we have a Brazilian festival every June, month of June, but we moved to San Rita's festivity, and it was wonderful. All the communities working, and it was very good. Next October 25th, we are having the gala to close. With the gala, the festivities.
Very exciting, and I will be there because, as you know, I grew up in St. Rita's Church, and when I went to school there, and when I was there, the parishioners were largely Italian. I know even before me, and like the Diocese of Brooklyn, you know, the demographics change. I know you have a big Hispanic population, also the Brazilian population, which is huge. And I know there was a special event during the Feast of St. Rita Mass. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, somebody gave me the idea. I don't remember who, but I think it was Father Casato told me that in the 100th anniversary he made the shrine to Our Lady of Guadalupe. That is, you know, in one side of the parish. Of the church, and I said, wow, why don't we do something special too? So we made a new chapel to Our Lady Aparecida, honoring the Brazilian community, and one of the parishioners that worked for many years in St. Rita's, and he died. He passed this year, so his wife donated everything to do the shrine. In the Brazilian community, everybody knows Neto, that worked a lot for the Brazilian community. So it was a way of celebrating the 125th anniversary, St. Rita, and Neto. Too.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. People have to go and see it. One thing that I found very interesting when I was speaking with you is that you were saying this might actually be the first church of St. Rita. Tell me about that. Why do you believe that?
Well, because the church was open as a chapel of St. Patrick. And this was in 1900. I am quite sure that it was in September 1900. That was when she was canonized, in September too. So the thing is that was open as a chapel and didn't become parish until 1917.
Okay.
But the church was there since 1900. Yeah.
Right, and that was the original church. It was a small church. It was replaced by this now current very large church, and in 1966, I believe, this church opened. And you talked about the windows. Let's quickly talk about them. They are absolutely stunning. They're original, and you were mentioning how expensive the windows were. So what does that tell you about the parishioners at the time?
Well, it's what I told the people in the 125th anniversary in the celebrations, and I tell the people, you see, they were workers that came to this country and live and work. They weren't rich people, but they were in love with the church and their parish, and little by little and helping, they built that huge church that we have.
Father, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Christine Persichetti, anchor of Currents News. If you like what you saw, please hit the like button on this video. And if you want to see more content just like it, subscribe and click on the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, because we are putting your faith in the news.